time, we'll go ahead and call the June 30th Planning and Zoning Committee to order. First order of business, we need to adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I need one of the committee members.
Motion.
Yeah, motion by Mr. Price. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brand. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Our next order of business is the approval of minutes from our May 9th meeting. Do I have a motion?
Soldier.
Motion by Mr. Brand, second. Second, Mr. Price. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, our new business. Looks like it's going to be 100% conducted by Mr. Uten this morning. We can't wait to hear from you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Morning.
Get here to my notes. All right, so, I guess the reason for this meeting is through years of looking at the zoning ordinances, the different ones, we feel like they need to be updated. The mobile home parks are in pretty good shape. There's a few changes that we need to make there. RV campgrounds, we need to make some changes. Subdivisions, we need to make some changes there. For instance, something that has given me a lot of grief over the last several years are flag lots. And Mr. Eubanks, he probably remembers the tax map number off the top of his head, but there's one on Wire Road. A guy bought 40 acres, and since we didn't have anything in here to prevent him from doing flag lots, he did it with 15, 20-foot easements going to the back of the property, and some of the roads are extremely long. So that's something, I don't think we can outlaw flag lots, but I think we need to put restrictions on them so they're a certain width, a certain length, and then the area that it's going to needs to be a certain size.
Mr. Uden, let me interrupt you here before we go on. What do you mean by and I'm probably the only one that doesn't know that, but what do you mean by flag lots?
I will ask the same question.
There's a lot of people that don't know what a flag lot is. And I want you to imagine a flagpole, because that's exactly what it is. The pole is the easement. That's the driveway. And then you get to the flag. That's the rest of the land at the back. So what that does is that prevents people from going through the subdivision ordinance, and they can put in whatever kind of road they want to get back there. And that's about as good a way as I know to explain it.
Basically, it may be a little simpler, that if you have a narrower piece of property and somebody wants to subdivide it, if they have a limited amount of road frontage, they can take off one side, maybe 40 foot, and put access to the back of the property to split it up. It was basically, the driveway would be the flagpole, and the back would be the flag. That would be where the property would actually be.
And so at the last council meeting, I mentioned loopholes. That's a big loophole, because that prevents them from having to pave a road. In all actuality, they're putting a new road in there. And you've got these folks that do it right, and they have to pave the roads. Then these others, that's a loophole that I would love to close.
Hey, Ms. Burns, this is what it would look like. So you'd have a flag, you'd have a road here. Say you got these two lots here, you'd have a flag that comes in behind those lots with this this pole of the flag, if you will, is the road that goes to it.
Okay.
It's called a flag. That's what they
Now
call a
you
flag.
realize I wear glasses, right?
You're welcome, yeah.
Thank you.
That's kind of the design.
So, another thing, for an example of buffer zones, just recently had, well, the last solar farm we had to come to town, their buffer zone was not adequate. And I don't feel that any of our buffer zones are adequate this day and time, because those buffer zones were made in 1999. And you could still ride by a solar farm today and see it. And that's the whole purpose of having a buffer zone, so you don't see it. So we would like to go in there and make that stronger. So that, and like to add buffer zones around an RV campground and a mobile home park. Also, time restraints or time restrictions on subdivisions. You know, right now, let's say Mr. Ford comes in and he wants to do a subdivision, okay? It goes through the planning commission, zoning board, everything. He's done everything right. Well, the way it stands right now, we send it over and the tax office doesn't cut the lots out until that subdivision started. So, in essence, Mr. Ford's gonna get ag rates on that, which are much cheaper than subdivision rates. I would like to put a time limit on how long that subdivision is good for. Like, if you haven't started in 12 months, then you have to go through the whole process again. And most people that do subdivisions, this day and time, they're gonna go ahead and get started. So,
12 months a little too long to wait, or 6 months?
sir,
12 months or 6 months?
I'd give them 12. I would. There's some that's been on the books for years. And they'll come to us still today and say, all right, I'm ready to start. I'm talking about 20 years ago.
Derek, how many mobile homes can you put on a lot now?
Sir,
How many mobile homes can you put on a lot right now as it stands?
before it goes to a mobile home park? Mm-hmm. 2,
So you can put 2 on a lot as it is?
that's correct.
Okay.
On a, how big the lot, quarter?
10,000 square feet.
That's
Quarter
a
acre.
quarter. Okay.
So you could put 2 on that 10,000 square feet now?
No, one.
No, 1, okay.
One.
And in order to have a mobile home
20,000.
park, you've got to have 4 acres.
4 acres.
Minimum of 4 acres. for a
Yeah.
park.
So explain that a little deeper. So 10,000 square feet is a quarter acre, and you can put 1 mobile home on it. But to put 2 mobile homes on it, you have to have twice that. But if you have 1 acre, you can still only put 2.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I was tracking.
Yeah.
And in our, and so that's what I'm getting at, is in our ordinances, we can change that. Currently, that's what it is. If you put more than 2 mobile homes on it, then that's considered a mobile home park. And you have to follow the mobile home ordinance.
Not on the half acre for 2 mobile homes. It have to be at least 4 acres.
If it's
to
a
be
park.
right, to consider to be a mobile home park.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Is the way the ordinance is written now, if I had that 1 acre lot and I wanted to put 4 mobile homes on it,
Can't
can
do
I
it.
split it up into 4 quarter acre lots
Not a half
and
acre.
dodge that bullet?
You can.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just,
Say that again.
The way it is right now,
You said half acre or acre?
all right, so they were saying basically you can only put 2 mobile homes per lot.
On a half acre.
And it has to be at least a quarter acre per mobile home.
Right,
So
on
you
a
have to have
half
a half acre to put 2, but if
Right.
you owned a 1 acre lot, the way we are right now, you could split that up, have it surveyed out and make it 4 quarter-acre lots and stick 4 on there and avoid the mobile
Not
home
on a
park.
quarter-acre lot. You can't
You'd
put
have-
2 mobile homes on a quarter-acre.
No, but if I have 1 acre and I break it into 4,
Four.
I've got 4 lots now.
4 quarters, right.
Yeah, and I can put 4
And-
mobile homes in there and with the
Way the
the
rules
loopholes.
are.
You can
To avoid the
avoid-
mobile home.
Right, exactly.
And the reason the 10,000 square feet is there is so that you'll have room to put a septic tank and your drain lines. We do have in here that your drain lines cannot cross the property line. That was one of the latest updates we did to this ordinance. So currently, you know, it's tight. Isn't it tight? I mean.
Oh, yeah.
you Used to do septic tanks.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a lot different now too, and, you know, the size of the systems have drastically increased.
So back in 99, it was one thing. Today, it's a totally different ballgame.
Derek, what are other counties doing with mobile home parks specifically, or the RV parks, or have you looked at any other counties?
I have not.
Okay.
Well, over the years I have.
Yeah.
Recently, no, sir. I have not.
I know some areas like York County won't allow certain age mobile homes or something like that.
Right. And currently, we have,
We have something like that too, I'm
if,
sure.
if you move a mobile home into this county from another county, it can't be more than 30 years old.
30 years, okay.
And if you're gonna do a mobile home park, they have to be new mobile homes and they have to have brick underpinning. That's the way it is
That must
today.
be recently started.
It is.
Oh, it's definitely recent.
Yeah.
I have a question, just from my knowledge. Do you know the percentage of mobile home, housing that we have in Chesterfield County? Anybody track that versus regular?
I can get you that information easily.
I was just asking because this seemed to be a very, hot subject.
I'm gonna say it's almost 2 to 1 mobile homes per houses.
Really? I would've thought it'd been the opposite.
No, sir.
People really buying the mobile
Now,
home.
now when Pageland gets finished, that number's gonna change.
Okay. Right now, it's 2 to 1.
I'd say so.
Idea.
I went through an audit, and I want to say there were 126, don't
I got you.
hold me to this, but I'd say there's 126 homes built and 500 mobile homes installed. I've got all that data. I didn't bring it with me today, but I've got all that data on my desk.
There's one that I think Tim may have mentioned, but specifically, it's not in my district at all, but it may be in Ethan's out toward your district.
Tiny homes.
No, out off of Thompson Creek. There's a mobile home park put in there. How would that obviously never came through the county, right? The one on the right in Thompson Creek, when you take a right on Thompson Creek right there. So how specifically would that?
Just like, he did it just like Todd just described. He broke it up in lots. He put them on.
Okay.
And divided it, put more on, and kept dividing it.
That would be, okay. So he just kept subdividing and putting 2 and 2 until he got.
And then unless he reached 5, then there was nothing you could do about it until he had all those in there.
I know, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also Clayton family too, was it not?
That's exactly right. See, family, you put as many as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, there are no regulations. Well, I say that. There are regulations like your building codes and your septic approval, that kind of stuff, but you can put as many mobile homes for your family members. And that's something else. I mean,
You can even forego the quarter-acre minimum?
yeah. And I've never done this, but you know, people know that that law is there, and I've never asked them to provide birth certificates or DNA samples. So, you know, we have to trust what they say.
We're doing it that way, this may not be this meeting, how does that affect paying taxes on that property?
It,
Are we losing money or we making money the way they doing that?
I don't know that we're losing money.
You're certainly losing money on older mobile homes because they're taxed a lot cheaper than a house would be.
We're,
But some people, that's just, I don't think you can get rid of mobile home. I mean, that would be crazy to say you can't do that.
absolutely.
But
I mean, I live in a mobile home,
yeah, I grew up.
and so,
So,
you know, I'm not against mobile homes at all.
no.
Well, they nice, just nicer house, I was just
Yeah.
looking at it from the dollar perspective, we're losing money, you say you can put 4 on the lot here, so are you paying for 4 mobile home taxes, or you paying for 1 tax?
I think that comes down to who's responsible for the taxes. Everything's an improvement, isn't it?
Where I'm fixing to tell you we're losing money
Right.
is on RVs. There's no taxes on RVs.
Absolutely.
And there are RVs all over this county. I mean, and people live in them permanently. But, good question. State law says you can only live in an RV for 45 days. Then you have to move it. Well, I got one part that they'll move from Lot A to Lot B. They've moved it.
Legal, it's legal then.
And so that's what I'm up against. And I can't police all that. But the thing is, I understand that some people, that's all they can do is live in an RV.
That's true.
And I'm okay with that. State law says 45 days. But then again, I look at Horry County, Myrtle Beach, people live in RVs down there year round.
Yeah,
They add on to them.
all the time.
Absolutely, they
build
add
'em.
on to them and they make them permanent.
Yeah, they do.
And that's when we should tax them. When they add something onto it, it should be taxed. Currently, to my knowledge, there's no tax on an RV, except through DMV.
DMV.
Another thing I would like to do is, with this project, I want to get our ordinance to where they will flow with our planning commission and the zoning board of appeals. Currently, they don't spell it out clearly. But if y'all will approve this, then we'll make sure it is explained crystal clear, because right now, I'm shooting from the hip on a good many things in these ordinances. So I think I've given enough examples, and that's just in about the first 10 pages of our zoning ordinance, land development. And I'm here today to ask this committee to put it before council that we move forward. We've talked with PD cog last week. We'll have to have their help. I can't do this on my own. I'm not capable. But they have given us an estimate of what it will take for us to redo all this. I don't want to do this to make it hard on anybody that lives in this county. That's not what it's all about. It's to make it fair across the board. And at the last meeting, I said something about a checklist. And Coleman caught on to that checklist. He said, we're gonna get you a checklist, because I want it to where I can check it off. If you meet these requirements, you're good. If you don't, you've got to meet these requirements, and then we'll go forward. So that's what I'm here asking you today.
Mr. Derrick, are you at liberty today, I don't know, to state what the estimate may be? You said they gave you an estimate? Or you need to hold off on that?
I can give it to you,
I'd like to know.
not to exceed $40,000.
What was that number?
Ma'am?
What'd you say?
Not to exceed $40,000.
They want to charge
That's-
40,000?
So let's explain right now what you're asking them to do for you. I
Right.
think just so people that are watching this on video can hear
They
this.
will rewrite this from our guidance.
And this being, they will rewrite what? I mean, I want everybody that's watching this video to understand what we're talking about.
The land development, the RV campground, subdivision, and when I say rewrite, we don't have to change everything. That's not what it's about.
It just needs to be gone through.
Right. This needs to be gone through from page 1 to page 200. And we need to tighten things up, get them up to today's standards. And they said how in-depth we want to go will depend on how much it costs. But they gave me a verbal price of not to exceed $40,000. And we had about that in the comprehensive plan.
For our part,
On
our
our
part, it was about around 90 for all.
Right.
And just to add on to what Derek's talking about, this hadn't been done since 1999 is the zoning ordinance. It hadn't been updated since then. And before, that quote is basically on all the different, we got several different districts in here, but we don't utilize those districts. So I don't foresee it being that expensive, because once Lindsay and them got to looking at it, you know, she doesn't see a whole lot wrong or needs to be updated with our zoning, but there are some things that, like he's saying, that needs to be tightened up. But we won't be, they were thinking that we were gonna have to utilize all those different districts, and we're not, so it won't be that expensive. Because like I said, there's several districts in there, and which mean they would have to go into the GIS and take and, you know, add those districts in there. So it won't be that expensive,
We're not bound by what they recommend anyway, are we?
no.
We can change
Y'all got
or
one
implement, yeah.
And here's what I'm willing to do. If y'all will present this to council Wednesday and see if we can get an approval. But I'm willing to come to council every month and give you an update of where we're at. And also, just like our mobile home ordinance, our mobile home ordinance is in pretty good shape. There's just a few small things we just need to tweak in there and make sure it meshes with Planning Commission and the BZA. So,
I guess just for clarity, so we're not planning on doing anything with any mobile home parks or anything that's already existing.
Correct.
That's grandfathered completely.
correct.
We're not trying to stop mobile home parks in the county. We're just trying to make sure that we provide a barrier and make things in such a manner that's more presentable, that's not gonna hurt the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And the same with the RV parks, is just go through the ordinance to make sure that we're protecting the neighborhood the best we can within reason.
And I know we need low-income housing here. There's no doubt in my mind. And, but I want to make it to where it's affordable for everybody. I don't want to cut anybody out.
Basically, you're saying like the subdivision needs to be comparable to what a mobile home park would have to do. Is that what you're, because I know a subdivision is pretty tough. county requirements. I've built houses, I can't meet those requirements all the time either. I mean, that's the only reason I haven't done them. It's pretty stringent to meet those.
I tell you what, I would like to see, Sir Chair and, Miss Michelle, before Wednesday, if either your staff or somebody can put on paper. First of all, I believe in you. I've heard you a couple of times, and, you do a good job, and you know your job well. So you always have my support. But I'd like for it to be in writing. I want to see in writing what changes we recommended. That way, when we meet as a council, we vote on that. I know exactly what I'm voting for the changes. Is that possible between now and Wednesday? Just a cheat sheet.
We won't be voting on any changes Wednesday.
You want me doing it?
No. All he's asking for is permission to be able to let COG come in and help revamp.
He's asking
Yeah,
to engage
and-
with PD-COG.
Okay.
And if, I would like to meet with this committee throughout the process so we can talk about changes. And if y'all don't like it, we take it out.
I agree with that.
Because full council's got to vote on any changes. It's got to go through full council.
So what Mr. Uten's asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, is for us to, today, to vote on whether we're gonna let PD-COG come in and kind of drive this change and reevaluate where we are and make their recommendations to what we change. If we recommend that to council this Wednesday and it passes, they'll begin that. Once they get those, I guess, their audit and adjustments made, they'll bring them back to us and then we can approve them or not at that point. It's not that Mr. Uten can't do this. I believe in you wholeheartedly, but this is a big deal and we need to get it right.
So when is the $40,000 committed?
If we get a motion and it passes here today, it'll go to council on Wednesday, and if they approve it on Wednesday, then we'll start the
Again,
ball
that go
rolling
back to
with
my
them.
point. That's why I want something in writing and say this is what we doing. But you talking about $40,000? I didn't know what the $40,000 was. Am I making sense?
Yep.
Brother Chair?
Absolutely. And that will all be laid out very clearly. If it were legal today and go to council, we'll know exactly what we're asking PD-COG to do, and we'll have a lot more accurate number before we sign any paperwork with them anyways.
I'll do my very best to have it spelled out by Wednesday. I can't guarantee it because that's a big job.
Just a cheat sheet. So, blah, blah, blah.
But just to clarify, from my standpoint, we're only talking about only, that's a lot, but we're talking about mobile home parks, RV, and subdivisions. We're not talking the grandparents' quarter-acre lot that they leave. It's just these things that I just mentioned.
Right. Me personally, I don't think we need to change the 10,000 square feet. But now that might not be what everybody thinks. But I think, do you agree with that? I mean, 10,000 can get a house and a septic tank.
Of course it can.
And it's location dependent.
10,000 feet is a quarter there. That's a quarter.
It's a quarter of an acre, they build them all the time on. They build them all the time on.
Well,
Seems like the shape would matter tremendously too.
Yeah.
I mean, because with drain line and drain fields,
that's my only holdback, is the septic.
What, a minimum septic tank's
We
130
don't, we
feet?
don't have many that do it on a 10,000 square foot lot. Most of them are 15 to 20,000 square feet. Now, in these campgrounds, yeah, but that's a different animal within itself.
All these new houses been built in Payson, what are they using, 10,000, quarter of a lot?
They're attached to septic. They're attached to sewer in the town. They don't have a
When
tank.
you've got town sewer,
Town sewer.
that's a different ballgame.
Yeah, completely.
And they've done, they're allowing the subdividers in the town of Pageland to build these big houses on quarter acre
Quarter acre.
lots.
But in your proposal.
They don't have any tanks, though.
Your proposal, you looking
Right, they
at
said it's
restricting the
sewage.
smaller lots and going to bigger lots.
They city sewage.
Not necessarily, no, sir. I mean, I'm wanting to stay around 10,000 square feet. I don't want to change that at all. As long as they can get their septic on their house and meet the setbacks.
Would it be feasible, because we have not gotten to the new business, and open up a new business, you're talking about lot restrictions. Wouldn't you need to put that new restriction in the planning of the changes that you're doing now?
That's part of this whole thing, yes, sir.
But if we pass it, we already said it.
Okay. Currently, if you build one home on a piece of property, there is no restriction on how much road frontage you have to have. Just like the flag lots. So, in our subdivision ordinance, it's 125 feet. I don't have much of an opinion either way. But 15 feet is not enough. 100 feet, yeah. But I think, to me, I prefer to have a set number and everybody go by the same thing. That's why I want the checklist. But just like with the flag lots, that throws everything out the door. So I know it sounds frustrating to y'all, but it's equally frustrating for me when I'm the one that has to tell all of y'all's constituents, no, can't do that. Or, sure, let's do it.
Now, lot restrictions with 4 lots or less, we don't have anything in place for that.
No.
That's another thing. I think that's what Mr. Brand was referring to. That's a different thing there too, that's not gonna be in the subdivision ordinance.
Right.
That we're looking, do y'all want to make any changes there or put any guidelines on that? That's something that needs to be addressed also.
Explain that, Tim.
Until you reach that 5th lot, you won't enter into a subdivision.
Right.
You can divide it up in 4 lots. You've got a piece of land, you can divide it up in 4 lots. And where our subdivision ordinance says you've got to have 125 foot of road frontage, you can divide up a smaller piece of land and it doesn't enter into that 125. You can stick a house on a little piece unless y'all put some things in place for that.
But you can break up a lot as many times you want, as long as you got road frontage.
Road frontage, and it can be less than 125 if you stay below 4 lots or less.
4 lots or less.
Those 4 lots are 4
Yes.
acre or bigger.
So I'm gonna let the cat out the bag. So right now, you could take a 100-acre tract of land, and you could cut off a very small section of it, have it surveyed off to the side, then you can take the smaller piece that you just surveyed off, you can break it up 4 times and put 4 houses on it if you want to. And then you can keep doing that over and over and over, and you can develop a 100-acre tract of land according to our ordinances as it is today.
If y'all don't put something in place right now.
If we don't put something in place.
So that's the nuts and the bolts of exactly what we're up against, just so everybody can know that that's really what we're trying to address is that loophole with our zoning to keep this from happening. I know certain parts of the county aren't seeing it as much as others and things, but when you had impact fees and things like that in the town of Paisley, it makes those people who would build in the town of Paisley go around the outskirts, find a piece of land, subdivide it according to our loophole that we have in place, and develop a piece of property without having to abide by the ordinance for subdivision.
I got 3 right now that wants to do it, and I've got them on lockdown.
They're in your hard districts, pretty much, Lawrence.
That's the nuts and bolts right there.
Let's address the loophole and say that $40,000. I think we can make a decision on that.
There's a
That's
little
the
bit,
nuts and bolts.
there's a lot of
we
washers
need their
and
help.
screws down in the bare bottom we
Yes.
better cover too. It's,
We need their help then.
So the important thing that, to me, it seems, is we've had lots of conversations over the last 2 or 3 years about ordinances, and we've made adjustments. And some of the things we're discussing today have been discussed previously, and now we're addressing the loopholes. I think what they're asking is, if we let PD cog do this, we avoid those loophole conversations this time next year, because this is what they do. They've been, if I'm not, how involved were they in our comprehensive plan?
Very.
They were it, pretty much. So
Exactly.
they know what our goals are and where we're going, and I think they can help protect us in getting there. I'm not a big fan of spending $40,000 for a decision we can make ourselves, but I think this might be a little bit bigger than us. If we're going to truly protect the taxpayers and the people that own the property and not, I'm not a big fan of letting anybody, telling people what they can and can't do with their land, but there has to be regulations to protect other people who want to be able to do what they want to with their land.
And the good thing about PD cog, they do this for a lot of counties in the state.
This is what they do.
And they have attorneys on board. They know what they can and can't do, what we can and can't do. And I need it. I need your help.
I'm not on the committee, but I suggest they go with you, give you the help you need. And Michelle will bring it back Wednesday, give us a little something in writing. Like she said, it might not be 40,000, maybe a little less, so y'all vote on it. Got my approval.
I'm not on the committee either, but listening today, that's why I came, 8:30 in the morning. But, at least I have a clearer understanding of what we'll be talking about Wednesday when time to vote as to whether or not we accept the recommendation from the committee.
Thank you for taking time out to come. Means a lot.
All right, I guess my question is, we understand what you're asking us to do. Do we have any more questions or any more discussion, or are we ready to ask for a motion? I mean, this is, with Mr. Utenstein here, it's the time to clear up any questions we have, honestly. I don't know where we need to go. I know we need to clean it up, obviously, but,
I'm sure there are questions.
I'm sure
I've
there's a
got
lot.
questions.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of these questions will be answered once we get the first feedback from PD cog, if we choose to go that route, right?
Exactly.
And that's the hard part, I think.
I make a motion to present it to council at this time.
We have a motion. Second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So the motion passes that we will present to council to bring PD cog in and have them reevaluate where we are and report back to council. And you will work with us through this process and report with this committee. Is that right? Do we need to phrase that any other way? Okay.
Is he gonna come back Wednesday?
We'll come to full council with this in a committee report on Wednesday, basically what we're looking to do and what our recommendation is to full council. And so everybody at this table will have a chance to vote again.
I recommend you be on Wednesday in case there's any.
I will.
That would be helpful.
I don't have all the answers, though. I'll try.
All right. Well, that was pretty much it for our business day. Any other discussions? Anything else we need to touch on?
You mean to tell me I got the rest of the day to myself?
I guess so, yeah. If there's nothing else to cover, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
We got to talk about the committee members. That's the only other thing we hadn't covered.
Sorry, hold on. I didn't see-
The last one. D.
Oh, I thought, okay, I got you. You didn't have committee members down there, so. All right.
Not attending. Not attending.
Oh, okay. I was blank. And I can blame it on something, as all of you are aware, but anyway, there's one thing that we need to address. These zoning hearings that we have and the planning commission meetings, we're not having the attendance that we should. we've had to postpone meetings because we didn't have enough to have a quorum. And we've had people, for instance, the solar farm, they brought a whole team with them to answer questions, and they had to make 3 trips for us to have enough to have a quorum. I would-
How do you get to, if your person's not coming, it might be a question for them, but if they're not coming,
Zoning board and the
can we replace them or what?
They need to be replaced.
Yeah, is that the protocol we got, or?
We can provide you with attendance records
Yeah.
of each person. And I can have that ready Wednesday.
Are they appointed from each district?
Yeah.
We've got
On
4.
on the zoning, on the Board of Zoning Appeals, each council member appoints someone to that committee. Then on the Planning Commission, county council's got 4?
4.
And then
Each town has one with exceptions of ones that hadn't, that
Right.
are participating.
right. But when we have these big meetings planned and all the prep work and the legwork goes into them, and you sit there and watch the clock, and at 6 o'clock, you don't have enough people for a quorum, I've had to get up right here and say, I'm sorry, we don't have enough for a quorum.
You ain't feeding them, are you?
Huh?
You ain't feeding them, are you?
No.
That's why they ain't showing up.
That's exactly right. But now, if council would like me to start catering dinner for them, I can make that happen.
No, I think what need to happen, we need to know who our representatives are. It's like the Workforce Development Board and the Board of Disability. I know my 2 representatives, and I actually called them, and they have told me they will be at the meeting. They've been there for those meetings. I don't know who my representative is for the zoning meeting, so we can get a list on that. Let us be responsible for calling them and making sure they're there.
Be glad to. You will have that list Wednesday, if not before.
I was gonna say, I think that as county council members, if you have somebody that's on the board that's not showing up, we need to address that with our people, I guess, first and foremost.
Right.
As far as the Joint Planning Commission goes, we have 4 seats, the municipalities have 1. I mean, how do we move forward with cleaning that up? That's not I can be responsible for my county people,
The
but
ordinance says if you miss 3 in a row, you removed yourself.
Okay.
And y'all want us, that's what, I would stick to the ordinance and then let them send a letter saying,
Again, let us know who they are first.
Sure.
Sometimes we can prevent a problem, resolve a problem before it become a problem. We know who they are, give us opportunity to speak to them.
That won't be a problem.
I'm sure if they're on the board, they got on there to serve. Most people want to serve if they don't.
I'll give you a list for the last 12 months' meetings. And then I'll let y'all take it from there.
You have that by Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
But for the Joint Planning Commission, those 4 people were appointed by the council
correct.
as a whole. And so if the ordinance says they're be removed if they miss so many meetings, I guess that would just have to be brought back to the full council to replace those people.
appoint someone else, that's correct.
Yep.
That's all I got.
do we need any motion to move forward with anything we just discussed? Okay. I don't think so. That's good. All right. So we'll address the Joint Commission positions on Wednesday. And as a county council, we will touch base with our board members personally, and just ask them to please attend. I guess if we have a problem moving forward with that, the Planning and Zoning Board, we can address that.
Do everybody here at the table know who their contact person is for the
Give us
district?
a list Wednesday.
You know who?
Susie's got a list for you. She can get it for you. It'll show you everybody that's your board member in every board we have.
That's what we need.
Susie, do you want me to get you those lists, those attendance records?
Please, and then I can forward.
Okay. Okay.
And that's for the Joint Planning Commission you're talking about, or the other? Or both?
Sir?
You took for both,
For both.
commission and the board, okay.
Yes, sir.
Really good. All right. Anything else?
Can I ask you a question? You talking about this zoning, and just asking this because it may come up. What if I own 50 acres of property in Chesterfield County? Would I have to accuse myself when we have these type of meetings? No. Okay,
No, you're not planning on subdividing it, are you? No, I'm kidding. Maybe.
just want to make sure, because I know a lot of time people have to do that. That don't apply here.
I think if, I don't know how much everybody owns here, but if we took out everybody that had 50 acres, we might not have a quorum anymore.
The only way he would have to recuse himself if he was going to, sell a piece of that property that, and it pertains to the county, that you would gain money or gain something from it. But if,
But for a decision-making process, that don't apply.
no.
For us- Okay, all right, we clear?
Not unless it pertains directly to your property or the
Okay.
county.
All right, got it.
Any other discussions, questions? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Price, second by Mr. Brand. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Or adjourned.